Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So in this video, this is something that I barely do here on this channel. While I usually show Let's Plays of what I do on my live streams, but today I decided that I would be giving out my full review of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Now, for starters, I was one of those people who got to see it on opening night, and let me tell you, it was absolutely phenomenal. I loved everything about this movie. This was definitely everything that I wanted as a big Mario fan, and let alone, this was a massive love letter to Mario fans everywhere. Now for this video, I will be dividing this into two separate parts. One that is spoiler-free, and the other that contains massive spoilers to the entire movie. So if you have not seen this movie yet, be sure to click out this video now, otherwise you've been warned as spoilers will be coming your way. But if you have seen this movie, welcome, and I really hope you enjoy my personal review of this movie. And if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to do the following by hitting that like button, sharing, subscribing, and telling all your friends. Thanks for watching, and please enjoy today's video. Going in headfirst in this movie, I was a little bit surprised when Mr. Miyamoto started announcing the cast for this movie, and I thought, you know what, this has to be a really big prank. This has to be a fucking prank. And I saw it and I was like, wait a minute. Chris Pratt playing Mario? And like, these are like some other actors that I haven't heard of before, like Charlie Day, and I mean, I kind of was familiar with Keegan-Michael Key, and I love Jack Black. Honestly, Jack Black was definitely an excellent choice for Bowser. Including Seth Rogen. I didn't know much about who Anya Taylor-Joy was, but all the other actors as well. It was something when I first saw it, but I was disappointed that, of course, they didn't get Charles Martinet, who's been the voice of Mario and Friends for many years, to play Mario, because that's mostly just like his character. So I don't see why not they couldn't have picked Charles to actually play his own character. Back in October, I was really surprised with what I saw. I thought that Jack Black really delivered pretty well, voicing Bowser in this movie. His voice was absolutely phenomenal. I was amazed when I first heard Bowser's voice. And then, of course, later on, we finally got to hear what Chris Pratt was going to sound like as Mario, and especially what all the other characters looked like. And they looked really good. Like, Keegan-Michael Key sounds really perfect as Toad. And when I first heard Chris Pratt talking as Mario, I was pretty disappointed. I'm sure, like most of us, were very disappointed knowing that this wasn't the Mario that we definitely were expecting to go for. Like, and everybody thought like, oh, it just sounds like Chris Pratt. It's not like Brooklyn or Italian or anything else, though. And then later on, when we got the other trailers to hear like Charlie Day as Luigi, more Jack Black as Bowser, Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, and then later on, we finally got to hear, like in some of the commercials and other stuff, for like Seth Rogen voicing Donkey Kong, and hearing a little bit of Cranky Kong as well, including Kamek. I was like, okay, there's definitely some improvement here and there for this movie, so it's looking pretty well, and I could definitely tell that Chris was definitely improving on his Mario voice to make it more video game-like. Definitely similar to what Charles Martinet had to offer. But as time flew by, the movie finally comes out. Chris Pratt actually did a really good job as Mario. He did good, though. I mean, yeah, there were some times that he definitely went very Mario-esque when definitely trying to sound like Mario in this film. And all the cast were great. Charlie Day as well, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black, Seth Rogen, Keegan-Michael Key, the actors who played Cranky Kong, Foreman Spike, and Kamek, but also the cameo that Charles Martinet played in this movie, which of course I will talk about later on in the spoiler part of this video. But absolutely, walking into this movie theater, I was absolutely surprised with everything I saw with this movie. I felt like a little kid in a candy store, just so excited and just like pointing out references and listening to like the musical lines and Easter eggs and everything else I was finding. It was just phenomenal. This right here was one of the best Mario movies I've ever seen. Definitely better than the original Mario movie from 1993. Honestly, without a doubt, this is the best video game adaptation film, best movie I've ever seen. Now, we all know this movie had a collaboration with both Nintendo and Illumination Studios, which, by the way, they did a really fantastic job bringing everything to the table with this movie. Everything was just well done. Like, Nintendo, Illumination, they went all out into making this movie. They added in all the video game references in terms of, like, sounds and music and everything else, even the personality for each of the characters, though, like, everything was just so well. It was perfect. This was definitely, like, a massive love letter to, like, Mario fans everywhere throughout the entire world. Now, the story was great. I really loved the story for this movie. It definitely was pretty good. I really liked how it started and then all the way to the ending of the movie. It definitely was really good. I thought it ended pretty well, especially the 2 post-credit scenes that they actually featured in the end of the film, which of course I will get to that in the spoiler territory part of this video. But absolutely, without a doubt, I love this movie. I walked in with high expectations, and then I walked out, like, could not stop smiling, though. I was amazed with everything that I saw in this movie. I definitely would go see it again if I have to, but, of course, I really want to go see this movie again for myself, but I'm saying this right now, but I just really love this movie so much. It was just so damn good! Now we're going to be coming into the spoiler territory of this movie. So if you have not seen the Super Mario Bros. Movie, I would highly recommend clicking off this video until you go see it for yourself, because I do not want to spoil or ruin this movie for anyone. But you should definitely go watch the movie. It's really good. I think you are going to love it. But if you have already seen the movie and you are here, then that is absolutely peachy. Going into this movie, it's just a massive galore full of Easter eggs and references of all things video games, all things Nintendo. Nintendo and Illumination did a really good job putting this together, and it is beautiful. At the beginning of this movie, we see both Mario and Luigi watching their plumbing business commercial in a pizzeria that's called Punch-Out Pizzeria, and there's just Easter eggs and references everywhere. We have, like, pictures of some of the Punch-Out characters, like Glass Joe. We have Little Mac and Doc Lewis. There's even is a picture of the duck from Duck Hunt. And also, in this exact same restaurant, we get to experience a cameo made by Charles Martinet himself. So, in one of the scenes, Mario and Luigi are talking about some plumbing business stuff. And right next to them, there is a little man dressed up just like the OG Mario from the Donkey Kong arcade game, who's actually is playing the actual Donkey Kong arcade game with the machine that reads Jumpman. And for a few seconds, he turns around, speaking to both Mario and Luigi, and we hear him say, and I quote, "Too much, it's a perfect, woohoo!" And right away, I was smiling big, knowing that we got to hear the Mario voice that we grew up and loved for so many years in this movie. It was just terrific. So right after we get to experience Charles Martinet's cameo as the little man playing the Donkey Kong arcade game, we finally get to see for the first time Foreman Spike, Mario and Luigi's former boss, and the guy from Wrecking Crew. And turns out it's pretty cool that his uniform actually says Wrecking Crew in reference to the game that he's actually from. And he just goes ahead and bullies Mario and Luigi, giving them crap for, like, their plumbing business and how, like, the whole commercial and everything else is just a big commercial failure. And, of course, you know, Mario and Luigi are not going to tolerate that and put up with it, so they just go ahead and leave. But before that, Luigi ends up getting a phone call from his phone. And I am all in favor of his ringtone, because his ringtone is the GameCube starting screen, which I think definitely pays some big references to, of course, Luigi starring in one of his own games in Luigi's Mansion. It's just so great because, you know, Luigi did have his first game on the GameCube with Luigi's Mansion, of course. So it's a really nice detail there. And after that, the both brothers start running into the construction site, and it's definitely a big callback to World 1-1 for the first Super Mario Bros. to where they leave the construction site, and there's like a castle that says like Castle Pizzeria or something like that, and it's pretty cool. One of the funniest scenes we actually got to see in this movie was actually the scene where both Mario and Luigi go to work on a sink in a rich person's house, and they get to experience like this dog. His name is, believe its name was like Francis or something like that, and they start getting pissed about Mario and Luigi, which after Luigi breaks the bone, and it's pretty funny though. But later on, we go into one of the most interesting scenes throughout the movie. It's Mario and Luigi having dinner with the family. Yes, we finally get to see what Mario and Luigi's family look like in this film. So, in Mario games, such as, for example, Yoshi's Island, we got to see Mario and Luigi's parents. Of course, we never knew what they looked like. We just saw their bodies at the end of the Yoshi's Island games. Also, Charles Martinet makes another cameo in this scene to where he actually plays Mario and Luigi's dad. Of course, the family are all together. They're eating, of course, pasta and mushrooms. So where we discover that Mario does not like mushrooms. So the family, they're all talking, they're chatting, and they give Mario and Luigi a very hard time, saying that their plumbing business is not going well. They thought that it was disappointing that they put in so much money into a commercial that ended up being a complete failure. And Mario's dad is just very disappointed in them, that it pretty much hurts Mario's feelings. So honestly, I kind of feel bad for Mario in this film. So right after the dinner scene, we see that Mario is actually playing the original Kid Icarus game for the NES, and oh my god, it's so cool. Even Mario's room has a lot of Nintendo references. Like, there's an NES console, there's a little statue of Fox's Arwing from Star Fox, Mario's got a couple of Nintendo posters like F-Zero, there's a polar bear from Ice Climbers. It's a nice callback to some previous NES classic games. And then later on, Mario and Luigi tune into a news broadcast about some water stuff going on in Brooklyn. And also, surprise, we also get a surprise cameo from Mayor Pauline herself in the news forecast. And it's just very great. I'm glad that they actually got a chance to add Pauline in this movie. That was pretty neat. Later on, after the news broadcast, Mario and Luigi decided to, you know what, they're going to go ahead and become heroes. They want to be heroes of Brooklyn. They want to prove their parents, their family, that they can do something right and not be failures. So you know what? They decide to, of course, wander to the streets of Brooklyn, go into the sewers, and turns out they discovered this secret area that's labeled 1-2, which, of course, pays a lot of reference to the dungeon from the original Super Mario Bros. And even plays the dungeon theme, like the da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. It's pretty neat. And then later on, they kind of do some investigating, and Luigi is the first one who discovers the massive green warp pipe in the room. Of course, he does get sucked in. Mario goes after him. And, of course, just like in the trailer that we saw, they ended up getting separated to where Mario ends up into the Mushroom Kingdom, and Luigi goes into the Dark Lands, to where Bowser is being held and taking place way before he gets kidnapped. For here on in, the movie actually gets really interesting. Mario arrives in the Mushroom Kingdom. He's completely oblivious as to where he is. He finally meets Toad. He tells Toad about his missing brother. So they decide, you know what, they're going to go ahead and work together and go sort this out and get some help from Princess Peach. While Luigi ends up in the Darklands, running away from Dry Bones, just like in the trailer. And of course, later on, he ends up getting kidnapped. So, of course, Mario gets to know the Mushroom Kingdom. He sees the Toads. He rides to Peach's castle. Finally meets Princess Peach for the first time. And tells her that he needs to go save his brother. And they decided that they wanted to get help from the Kongs, which, of course, they say are the strongest warriors in the world. And I think that's actually pretty neat. And, of course, later on, the Toads are like, hey, you know, what's even the big idea for getting help with the Kongs? Of course, they're not going to negotiate with you or anything. But, of course, you know, being Princess Peach, as she's always been, she's like, yeah, I know that. But you know what? We're going to get some help from the Kongs anyway. So, before they actually go on their massive adventure, Princess Peach actually ends up training Mario to start fighting Bowser and doing everything else, learning about power-ups, and it's all good. It's all good in here and there. And later on, we find out about Luigi getting taken away and tied up by the Shy Guys and the Snippets. But also, a nice little reference, we get to see Baby Mario and Baby Luigi! And honestly, I was not expecting that shot to see both Baby Mario and Baby Luigi before Luigi ends up into Bowser's castle. But then, of course, we see Bowser, like, holding court in his throne room to where he wants to marry Princess Peach and take over the Mushroom Kingdom without hesitation, but also just wants to marry Peach in general. Because, of course, you know, it's Bowser, he's the villain, he's the bad guy, he does the thing, he does what he wants. So, super jumping forward into this movie, right after we see Luigi all caged up, meeting the little depressing Luma who talks about death, and seeing the Penguin and the Penguin King all caged up, and having to deal with this Luma just talking about dark and depressing things just for lulz. We see that Mario, Peach, and Toad end up in the Isle of the Kongs. I don't know if it's Donkey Kong Island or just Donkey Kong Country, but I think for this video, I'm just going to go ahead and call it Donkey Kong Country. So, Mario and his friends arrive to Donkey Kong Country. They meet King Cranky Kong. Yes, Cranky Kong is the king of all the Kongs. Princess Peach talks to Cranky Kong to negotiate with him on trying to get his army to stop Bowser from invading the Mushroom Kingdom. Of course, Cranky Kong says no, but throws out one condition to where Mario must fight Cranky Kong's son, Donkey Kong, as we fast forward to the Smash scene from the second trailer to where Mario and Donkey Kong begin fighting. But Donkey Kong's entrance is so damn funny. We hear Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, and also we hear the fucking DK rap from Donkey Kong 64, and I am all in favor of it. It was just so damn funny. But also, in this exact arena, we get to see a few more cameos that I was not expecting. We get to see 3 more Kongs that we haven't seen in a while. We see Dixie Kong, Diddy Kong, and Chunky Kong from Donkey Kong 64. I was like, oh wow, they've actually brought back Chunky Kong, and we haven't seen him in a long time. But throughout the fight, Mario ends up getting beat up by Donkey Kong until later he discovers the Super Bell power-up, turning into Cat Mario, and of course beats Donkey Kong in a fight. Cranky agrees to go ahead and team up with Princess Peach and the rest of the crew to stop Bowser from invading the Mushroom Kingdom. Now it gets even juicier, right as Cranky Kong takes into the secret room and we see a bunch of Kongs working together on some cards. We see a lot of references to Mario Kart over here. We see like a Kong, like a Kong wrecking crew and a bunch of other stuff like that. And even like how like Mario, Peach, and Toad are actually picking their parts like for their vehicles. It definitely is a big strong reference to Mario Kart 8, like picking like the body, the tires, the glider. It is just perfect. So of course they do get all their parts together and they start driving on Rainbow Road just to go take a secret path, and they are playing the Super Nintendo version of Rainbow Road from Super Mario Kart, and I am all in favor of that. Also, I really want to add that in this movie that the rivalry between Mario versus Donkey Kong in this film is just brilliant, and it really pays homage and references to Mario and Donkey Kong's rivalry in the video games, especially in like the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, which I think that's pretty neat too. One thing I also like to mention in this movie is Jack Black is fucking hilarious. We see this man playing on a piano that says Ludwig von Koopa in reference to one of the Koopalings. Of course, Ludwig. And he's playing this massive love song that's about his feelings towards Princess Peach. And oh my god, I could not stop cracking up in the scene where he's like, Peaches, 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 oh yeah! Oh my god, it is just so fucking funny. Jack Black is so damn funny in this movie. I love this man so fucking much. He really carried this movie very well. But later on, he does learn about Mario and the Kongs definitely taking a secret passage to go stop him. Of course, Mario is definitely going to find a way to get to Bowser, but Bowser is not going to tolerate that shit, as he definitely sends out his army to go after them. They start riding on the Rainbow Road, firing Koopa shells and bullet bills and a bunch of other stuff. Of course, Everybody literally almost gets destroyed, including Mario himself, to where he stomps on the Koopa, the General Koopa who wears the blue shell. But also, this gets really interesting. During the last segment of the fight, the General Koopa, who wears the blue shell, he actually turns into a legit blue shell, and he starts flying after Mario and Donkey Kong, making the exact same sounds from the Mario Kart games, blowing them up and sending Mario and Donkey Kong into the depths of the ocean to where, of course, they do get swallowed, which I believe it is the eel from Super Mario 64 and Jolly Roger Bay. Princess Peach and her army gets defeated. Of course, the Kongs actually get captured by the Koopas. So, Peach and Toad end up going back home. They start warning the Toads about Bowser's coming. And, of course, the Kongs get all changed up, and here comes the little Luma being dark as usual. It's like, fresh meat for the grinder. I'm just like, oh my fucking god, this fucking Luma. So, definitely, they do, Peach and Toad do find a way to make sure that everybody's okay. Of course, Bowser comes in, is getting ready to propose to Princess Peach to where, before all that, he actually puts on his wedding outfit from Mario Odyssey. I am all in favor of that. But, of course, fast forwarding to this segment, Bowser ends up proposing to Princess Peach to where, of course, she refuses. But it turns out that he definitely starts to threaten Toad by trying to hurt him. To where Princess Peach herself ends up getting worried, and she's like, okay, I'll go ahead and marry you. So, of course, she turns around towards Koopa's kingdom and starts following Bowser to where she sadly has to end up getting married to Bowser. Of course, later on throughout the film, Mario and Donkey Kong decided to work together as they start defeating Koopas and Goombas and a bunch of other enemies by grabbing up all the power-ups. They finally make it to Bowser's castle, and in the wedding, we get to see King Bob-omb and King Boo actually attending the wedding. It is so damn awesome. Of course, we do have Kamek as the pastor, doing the whole same thing like, do you take this person to be your lawfully wedded wife and husband, and all this other stuff. Of course, Princess Peach, as usual, does not want to marry Bowser, and turns out that she had a secret ice flower hidden with her, for safekeeping. So, surprisingly, that's something that we have not seen in a Mario game. She ends up turning into Ice Princess Peach. Holy crap. She turns into Ice Princess Peach, starts throwing fire ice balls at Bowser, freezing him, and, like, definitely trying to save the Kongs and everybody else from making sure that they don't get drowned and sunk into the lava. Of course, DK, Mario, and everybody else help the prisoners to make sure they don't die. Everyone gets saved. The little Luma is just like, boo, like as if he doesn't really want to die. And finally, Mario and Luigi finally reunite with one another. It's such a precious moment. Fast forwarding to the final showdown against Mario versus Bowser. All the gang just end up in Brooklyn, New York. Mario, Peach, Luigi, Donkey Kong, even Bowser himself, to where he is just furious at Mario that he just ruined the entire wedding. Of course, he beats the crap out of Mario. Mario definitely tries to get the superstar to find a way to defeat Bowser. Of course, Bowser's not going to let him do that. But later on, Mario, of course, ends up getting beat up. He sees a little TV commercial inside the ruined pizzeria, Punch-Out just right from the beginning of the movie, and finally gets some motivation to go back out there, ready for round 2 to defeat Bowser. Of course, Bowser is just ready for action, ready to fight Mario, but then suddenly Princess Peach just distracts him and sends the superstar towards Mario's direction. Of course, Bowser tries to get it, he breathes fire at Mario, but then all of a sudden, we see, like Bowser's fire does not hurt Mario, as out of nowhere, Luigi ends up holding a manhole cover protecting Mario to make sure that his brother does not get roasted. Honestly, that is some huge dedication and brotherly love right there. Honestly, Luigi is just amazing. Of course, you know, Mario does not want to do this alone, so he just grabs his brother's hand. They both touch the superstar, and finally they become invincible, Mario and Luigi, and together they're just invincible. They're all rainbow color-like, and then of course, we get to hear the invincibility music from the game, like the and they're just together. They're just beating up Bowser, letting them have it, going home Dragon Ball Z style, in my opinion. I think it's really cool. But also, the best part of how they ended this fight is both Mario and Luigi just grab Bowser by the tail, swinging him around and throwing him, just like how they did in Super Mario 64 or Super Mario 64 DS. And from there, of course, Bowser is defeated. Everybody is saved. Mario and Luigi's parents are proud of both Mario and Luigi. And at the end of the movie, they finally decide to just stay inside in the Mushroom Kingdom and start just protecting everybody to make sure that Bowser does not escape. But it definitely is a great and true happy ending to this movie. Lastly, at the end of the film, we finally get 2 post-credit scenes at the end of this movie. The first post-credit scene is to where, like, Bowser just starts singing his Peaches song. It's Peaches, 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 Peaches. But he talks about, like, how, like, Mario, Luigi, and Donkey Kong, like, start beating the crap out of him. And, of course, at the end, I did forget to mention that after Bowser was defeated, Peach actually shoves a mini mushroom in Bowser's mouth, and Bowser turns into Mini Bowser. And Bowser is just all locked up in a tiny cage playing the piano, and the Toad Guard's like, "Hey, be quiet in there!" It's so fucking funny. I love it. And then, honestly, one of the most surprising moments in the last post-credit scene. So, we go back to the sewers from the beginning of the movie, and there's a little bit of like, some rocks in there, and, like, ruin and stuff like that. After the destruction that happened around the ending of the film, and right in the distance, and we get a big close-up, we see a Yoshi egg just standing there. And the egg cracks, and finally, the screen turns to black, and we hear this sound. So yeah, that was the Super Mario Brothers movie. So in my conclusion, I have to say, please go watch this movie. If you are a movie lover, if you are a fan of Nintendo, if you are a big Mario fan such as myself, definitely go see this movie. Go watch it with a friend. Go watch it with a family member. Go watch it with your boyfriend or girlfriend or anybody. Please go watch this movie. I highly recommend it. You are going to be walking out of that theater just continuing smiling just like I did. I love this movie so much, and I cannot wait to experience this movie all over again while seeing it in theaters, but also with the release of it coming out on DVD in the future. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and tell all your friends. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and please enjoy the Super Mario Brothers movie.